Well, it's awesome to be back at a Sweet 16, and we're excited to get out there on the floor. We know we're going to have our work cut out for us with a really, really solid and tough-minded Arkansas team. But that being said, we also are just feel great about being able to do this seven times in a row. We're not just taking that for granted, and we've definitely enjoyed every part of it and every aspect of it. And I think the guys have done a great job with that.
Questions? As a reminder, please state your name and affiliation. We'll go to Ron first.
Mark, Ron Krajcik from the San Francisco Chronicle. Curious what your team learned or what you learned about your team in the wake of the St. Mary's game here in the Bay Area. You've obviously, I think, won 21 of 22 coming into this week's event. What did that sort of tell you about your team, how they responded to that?
I mean, that they're champions, and they have a winning way about them, and you know that we had the luxury or the I don't know if they'd look at it as a luxury. We had the opportunity to have a week after that game, and I think we were able to kind of reset and just reconfirm about what we do and how we do it. And but that being said, I think we already knew that, how good St. Mary's was and how tough they were and how well schooled and well coached and they were, and so it was kind of a combination of those two things.
Question to the right.
Theo Lawson with the Spokesman Review. Arkansas has three pretty experienced, talented guards in their backcourt, similar to you guys. You guys have some transfers in the backcourt. So what's kind of the key to limiting their damage, and what did they do best?
Gosh, they're great at in the open floor, pushing it and making plays. And then I want to say they definitely in the upper percentile, maybe even the best in the country at drawing fouls and getting themselves to the free throw line. So they do a great job of putting the ball on the floor and coming at you. And so we're going to have to, sprint back and build a wall and hopefully show that we have our hands back, but also rim protect and rotate out of those things. And then on the flip side, at the other end, they're really, really good at pressuring the ball and getting up into you. So we'll have to deal with that also.
Question from Dana in the middle.
Dana O'Neill of The Athletic. Mark, Drew just said that what he's noticed about Chet's evolution is he's thinking less and just, quote, hooping. Have you noticed sort of that transition too, where he's sort of found his confidence and comfort level with all of this?
Yeah, there's been some really, really great development with Chet over the course of this year. I think there's a lot of things you can do at the high school level and even in the summers in the AAU that you're not able to get away with at this level because of the talent, the size, and probably in Chet's, what he's been facing, the physicality and the strength of the guys he's going against, as well as the schemes of people in the lane. So a lot of times when you put the ball on the deck, there's not as much space. But he's done a wonderful, wonderful job of adjusting to that. I mean, I know I've kind of spoke to this ad nauseum, but he's just such he wants to learn, he wants to develop. He's always around 20 hours a day and asking and wanting to watch film, to talk hoops, to lift, to everything. And so open to coaching, and I think that's been a huge key, and it'll always be huge for him because there's so much development in front of him.
Question on the left.
Yeah, Mark. Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat. Is that, Chet and Drew, most people don't have one big as good as those guys. You have two. How big an advantage is that, do you think, for y'all? And what do you think of Jalen Williams for Arkansas?
Well, first, Jalen Williams is a great player, really, really versatile. I've just been impressed with just, how well and how comfortable he is facing up and You know, he's kind of that entity. I mean, maybe his numbers aren't off the charts, but he's scary enough. You got to guard him out there on the 3 line, but he's got a great lift fake and can put it on the deck and make plays. And then, you know, his rim protection is different than Chet's. He takes a lot of charges or attempts to take a lot of charges, so we have to be aware of that. You know, the thing with our two is they're just so vastly different. I mean, Chet can really space the floor and stretch you on the offensive end. Obviously, Drew is so adept driving and moving and doing what Drew does, you know, mostly around the paint. I would say this, it's a nice luxury, though, to have to, you know, we're comfortable enough, as we've always been, going all the way back to Kelly Olynyk and Rui and Brandon Clark and, you know, players like that, to be able to take those guys, take it off the glass and lead a fast break. Both Drew and Chet are very good at that and kind of help us in the course of a game get a different look.
Question in the middle.
Yes, Mark. Chet, late January to late February, really started to hit his stride as a three-point shooter. Last 6-7 games or so, he's not been as accurate. Are you noticing anything with his shots? Are they not as high-quality shots? Is he rushing? Is there anything in particular that binds that struggle together?
I mean, I don't think so, Mike. I think it's just, you know, he shoots a lot of them. He definitely reps it out outside of practice. Look, I think guys are very, very aware of him because he was shooting the ball so well, so it's probably harder to get those wide open looks. But for the most part, if you go back through all of them, most of them have been really, really good shots and shots we want him to take. So,
Go to the back left with a question.
Dennis Patchen from KHQ TV SWX. Mark, we talk about Chet, we talk about Drew a lot, but what Rasheer and Andrew have done since the WCC tournament, can you talk about what those guys have been able to do over the last couple of weeks?
no, that's a great call. And it hasn't just been the last couple of weeks. It's been all year, right? I mean, you know, Andrew's just had a phenomenal year. I mean, go all the way back to, remember the UCLA game in Vegas, just what he was able to do. And he's just it's just a very, very comforting feeling to have Andrew Nembhard as your point guard, you know, in game, out of game, night before games, things like that. Because you know, by and large, he's going to make the right basketball play. And the other thing that I think is lost with him, he's arguably our best perimeter defender with his size and his strength and his experience. And then Rasheer, man, I give him just so much credit for how easily he's assimilated with this group. And, you know, he's very quiet and unassuming, but, you know, when anybody who's followed us this year and, you know, when there's been challenging moments or challenging stretches in a lot of these games, Andrew's been the one that stepped up and made big plays and bore big shots.
Over to the middle.
Or I'm sorry, Rasheer. He made big plays, big shots down the stretch of a lot of our games.
Alex Crescenti, KXOY TV. Coach, Andrew played all 40 minutes last week against Memphis there. Is that something that you would like to get him a break if you have to, or do you have the ability to go out there and do that again?
He's definitely got the ability, and we've played him a lot. We played him a lot of minutes, and a lot of it's based on, you know, foul trouble and things like that. I think the thing that everybody needs to understand, in the NCAA, these timeouts are 3 minutes long. So the idea of giving a guy a blow, I mean, you know, you take a nap, you know, some of these deals. So it's different. It's just very different. There was a time in the Memphis game where Drew pulled on his jersey as he came to the bench, and I'm like, you need a blow? Or, I mean, we got 3 minutes. And he's like, no, yeah, I'm fine. So, I mean, you know, these are different how this season, time or half times are longer, everything, so.
Question on the right.
Hi, Coach. Travis Green, Crib 2 News. I just wanted to get your thoughts on facing J.D. Note in this game.
more clips yesterday of just how adept he is at just little tiny slots to be able to get in the lane, and so good in transition. Plays with a lot of freedom, so it's hard. I mean, he can pull the three on you, or he can lift, fake, and drive and get a crease and get downhill. Great at getting to the line, like we talked about a little earlier. So a handful. Those guys are hard, and he's on quite a roll. So we'll have to guard him as a group.
Take 3 more questions up here on the right.
Brenna Green, Crum 2. Mark, I was curious, you are a Zag dad. You have your son on the team. Have you acquired one of those shirts? And generally, just what do you think about the dads, it says about the dads that they put that together and the community that you've surrounded your team with?
Yeah, actually one of those shirts ended up in my T-shirt pile the other day. I asked Marcy about it, so she set me straight on it. Yeah, pretty cool. It's great. It's always great, at least with us, to see throughout the year how, I'm concerned with how my team's built and how they all get along with all the new faces, but it's great when we've had just some unbelievable team chemistry with our parents and stuff over the years, and how close they become traveling around and really build lifelong friendships. I mean, I've seen how connected the Tillies were from France with many of the people in Spokane and all that, and this group is it's pretty cool. So yeah, I was even rocking my Zag Dad shirt the other day when I was working out. Proudly.
We'll go to the back right for a question.
Keith Ozo, KXOY. Coach, this week must have flown by, considering last year you were playing Scrabble for 9 days between games.
Yes.
Even though you've been through this so much, 7 straight years into this.
Not only Scrabble, but I had Drew next door to me with his Xbox till 1 in the morning every night. So, yeah, that was a factor last year also.
The Xbox factor.
For 30 days, till 1 in the morning.
Even though you've been through this is your 7th straight year here, these times between the rounds, is there a part of you and your staff that maybe have to hold the guys back? Are they just itching because of the excitement of this tournament?
There's a good mix, obviously, with Drew and Andrew being through this a bunch. But it is new, and it's a totally different experience for, almost the rest of my crew. But you're right, it kind of, this one seems like it really rolled in and happened really, really fast. I mean, we got home really, really late Saturday night, so I think everybody just kind of slept and rested Sunday. And then Monday, we had a really good practice and got after it really hard. And then, Tuesday, we're on the road again. So I think they're kind of used to it by now and understand what's at stake and what's going on and how to prepare through all of this.
Final question in the middle here.
Yes, Mark. Mike DeCourcy from Sporting News. Chet's such an uncommon player, almost unique. So when you got him into your camp, were the things you had to adjust? I mean, you've always adjusted to your talent, but never had to maybe incorporate someone as uncommon as him.
No, that's a great call. We were just talking earlier about this. Like, I think the issue or whatever, what happens is, you see the number 1 prospect or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and then the expectation is they're just going to come in from the jump and dominate or whatever, and that's just not how it goes, especially when you're a high-level team like us, or you're playing, against other experienced high-level teams, and I think it's been exacerbated with Chet because, and I just got asked about this earlier. Are you concerned about his scoring? And it's like, it took me a while, the first week, 2 weeks, month, to really truly understand. His game's not about scoring. He impacts the game in so many ways that, it's almost, you could probably make an argument he impacts the game more on the defensive end than he does on the offensive end. And I think especially the way these games are being officiated and called and how college basketball has kind of morphed into this. It's pretty rugby-like in a lot of instances, off the ball or on the ball, what you're allowed to do. And so, I mean, that's been hard. You get guys that are outweighing by 50 pounds or, are physical, and so sometimes it's hard to truly manifest all that skill that's in there. But at the same time, I mean, he still gives you the ability to stretch the floor. He's very adept when we are able to find him around the rim. Like I said, he can take the ball off the glass and lead a break. And then all the while, he's given us an entity we haven't had on the defensive end. We've never used drop coverage like, you see so many people doing in the NBA, but we've been able to do that with Chet pretty exclusively. And then, like, I think most people that know me, I'd say I'm probably between ankle and shin deep in this whole analytics stuff. But my staff and my eldest son's kind of helping me with all that stuff. And I mean, his points per possession, his efficiency and all that is off the charts. I think it's probably the highest in college basketball. So I think that kind of lends itself too to, like, it's not just all about him scoring or his shooting percentage or any of that. He's got an impact on the game that it's hard to measure sometimes. Like maybe they don't even post up because he's in there, or they drive in and last year they would have shot a layup on us. They hockey it and have to kick out or something. So it's hard to maybe track that with the traditional statistics.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. All right. Thanks.